We are not a hate group. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
Hey, shalom, Most High in Christ bless. Welcome to another edition. There's some reverb in there. I just got done screaming at the cameraman because he doesn't even know how to direct the video, and now I feel guilty. But actually, be more creative, God damn it. God is not a swear. All praise the Lord. Hey, listen, we are your hosts. We're at Precept Upon Precept. It's the late show. Make sure you share. My name is Captain Shem.
Captain Matt.
Officer Micah.
Officer Yasa.
We have a fire show for you today. First thing we're going to do, before we do that, we're going to, like we always do, by the way, real quick, we've been stuck. Shout out to Officer Iran, keeping us stuck for the last year at 29,500 views. But he's going to kick some rear end and get us over that threshold to 30,000, right? All praises. Subscribe to our YouTube page, Rumble, Instagram. Help us, leave comments. Tell us what you want to see. Well, I can't say. I'm going to say it a little bit later. Land Fund. We did it. All praise to the Most High. Booster Club. Let us travel. Let us take your dollars that you donate and show you what the Most High can do. Donate. We thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. With that, we're going to go to Officer Micah with the Watchman Report. Take it away.
Hey, shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ. Bless, pray for our tech team, send up prayers for them. All right, let's get into it. 18-year-old dancing on top of SUV dies after falling, getting hit by a fire truck. I guess they hopping on the red light, twerking on them headlights. Keep listening to Glorilla. Evil communication corrupts good manners. Next article. And notice how they always put the good picture up like she was just so innocent. Pray for our tech team, y'all. Look at this. They always show their good picture. Terrence Howard passed on Marvin Gaye biopic after finding out he had to kiss a man in scene. I don't fake. He said he ain't doing it. Hey, listen up. These 7 countries will actually pay you to move there. So if you there want to do more work, hey, some countries you may be able to go to. Check this out. Scroll up just a little bit. There we go. Ukraine said 120,000 useless mortar rounds were sent to its front line after a manufacturer tried to cut the cost. So they got bombs they can't use. Pay attention. UPS cutting 20,000 jobs amid reduction in Amazon shipments. Hey, and this concludes the Watchman Report. Hey, shalom. Welcome back. We're going to jump right into it. We got a lot to go over and not a lot of time. First thing, go ahead and throw up the thumbnail for tonight's show. All right. So actually, real quick, let me explain the thumbnail. The first part of the show, we're going to go into what's happening in France still, and then we're going to come back to the main part of the show. And this is the 100 days of Trump, because yesterday made his 100 days in office.
Babylon partly strong, partly broken. And that is from the book of Daniel, when you go into the 10 toes on the miry clay and the iron. So a lot has happened in the last 100 days. We're going to focus on some key points in the first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency. Before we do that, I want you to pull up Racist History of France. Okay, so you've heard Bishop Nathaniel in some of the radio shows. I shout out to Captain Emmanuel out of Arkansas. He held it down last week for us. We had a little bit of technical and site challenges to get to film the show. Nonetheless, we're going to get into the history of France, their racism towards the 12 tribes of Israel and other black nations. Many of the Israelites were in those nations. Let's start first with a little bit of history, okay?
Yes, sir. Racist history of France. France, like many other former colonial powers, has a long and complex history with racism, both within its borders and through its actions abroad. Here's an overview of key elements of that history.
So this is we're just going to take a little history trip down memory lane to see, and when it says colonial, that always means white. Anytime you hear colonial or neo-colonial, it ain't talking about black people or Chinese people oppressed. It's always talking about colonies of Caucasians. That's what colonialism means. Read on.
Colonialism and racial hierarchies. French Empire at its height.
Because for at one point, the French ruled much of the world. Okay, read.
France controlled vast territories in Africa, Southeast Asia,
right,
the Caribbean, and the Pacific.
The Pacific. Read on.
Colonialized peoples were often viewed as inferior.
Right, because remember, pull up France. There's something I gave you, Akim, about La Noir, something like that. Because France is the country that gave the United States the Statue of Liberty. They're the ones that talk about democracy and about rights of the people. But they were one of the biggest slave-driving forces of the colonial era. They were horrible, ruthless. And let's read some of the code. Let me see.
Code Noir.
Just hold that for a sec. We're going to come back to that, okay? Let's hold that. And Bishop, went over that. But we're going to go back to, yeah, please. We're just showing you all that what is happening to Israelites in Christ in France, we're not shocked. We expect it, and because this is the seed of Napoleon's. This is his people, his children. Read.
Colonialized peoples were often viewed as inferior, and France justified colonialization through the idea of the mission civilizing mission, which was deeply paternalistic and racialized.
Come on.
Forced labor and exploitation,
AKA slavery. The white man likes forced labor. Okay, read on.
In colonies like Algeria,
Africa,
Senegal,
Africa,
and Madagascar.
Madagascar. Isn't that big giant island up the east coast of Africa?
Yep.
Pull up a map of Africa real quick. The French were far away from their homeland. Doing what? Forced labor camps, colonizations, and destruction. So if you look at the top of the map, there's France right there, which is actually, you can't, that's the Iberian Peninsula. Yasa always talks about Spain and Portugal and Spain, but above that is France. Look at how far Madagascar, that purple island up the coast, all right? They came all the way around, all the way down past Mozambique, all the way to Madagascar. Their empire was vast, and they spread their colonial beliefs, okay? That's why they speak French in many of these lands, okay? Go back. We're just a quick history with y'all. Our tech team, they try. They really do try. They got a fat guy that went from 300 pounds to 247, so he should be in about a 46 pants soon. They said 40. I'm messing with him. All right, read on.
Forced labor and
I
exploitation
can make fun of fat people.
in colonies like Algeria, Senegal, and Madagascar. Indigenous populations were subject to harsh labor conditions, land dispossession, and violence.
Let's scroll down to number 2. And this is just, like I said, a brief.
I like how they, forced labor, slavery,
Right.
land dispossession. Y'all took the land, stole it.
I did the same thing with the Native Americans on this side of the earth. Slavery and slave trade. Now they compartmentalize their wording. Read on.
Slavery and the slave trade. French West Indies. Martinique.
Some of the men in this room, we've been to Martinique. Martinique is one of the most oppressive nations. We talked to Brother Martinique and in a couple of islands that if you buy a car from the U.S. or somewhere else, the tax on it is thousands upon thousands just to import it in. It's ridiculous, okay? We talked to men that were a lot of them couldn't even afford a car. I'm talking about men that work 2 jobs, can't afford a car, okay? Read on.
Guadeloupe. Haiti, France was a major player in the transatlantic slave trade, transporting hundreds of thousands of Africans to Americas.
Right, and I think that number is vastly underrepresented. I think it was millions of Israelites across to their colonies, okay? You don't need to show us, please.
Slavery was abolished in 1794, reestablished by Napoleon in 1802.
So now this is talking about what we're going to touch on in a minute. This was talking about in Saint-Domingue, which now is Haiti, and we're going to get into that. They won the right for freedom in 1794, and Napoleon began to try to reinstitute slavery. That's the level of these French Edomites. They succeeded, and they won their independence. They fought, and then the French under Napoleon tried to bring it back. Read on.
And finally abolished again in 1848.
Oh, gosh. But Haiti was somewhat free, if you could say that. Read on.
Racist ideologies.
Let's scroll down to number 3, and I don't want to read the whole thing, but let me see number 3. Okay, this is important. This is when it says racism during the World Wars. This is World War I and World War II. So 1917, roughly, and World War II was 41 to 45. So during the French were racist during that war. Read that. Can you see that?
Yes, sir. Racism during the world wars. Colonial troops, hundreds of thousands of African and Asian soldiers fought for France in both world wars. After World War II, many of these soldiers were denied equal pay or recognition and were even massacred. The Thiroui Massacre in Senegal, 1944.
Basically, they took a bunch of black French soldiers, they rounded up, and they slaughtered them. They mowed them down. This is the French. This is we are freedom. We give you Statue of Liberty. These are the people. Okay, if you Google, matter of fact, Google the Thiroui Massacre in Senegal. If you Google that real quick, it's going to tell a little bit about that. Say that for later. Scroll down to number 4. Just show the whole thing because I want to move on because I got a professor I want to go over. Okay, so there was the Algerian War, which Algeria is Africa. They did many horrible things from 54 to 62. Scroll down. Okay, all right, well, do what you got to do. Okay. All right, maybe it's the way I gave it to you. Okay. After World War II, okay. Tell you what, let's get out of there. Let's go to the next, because we want to just show you some history, okay? This is a sister. This is should be a professor. Do you see that? It's time-stamped and everything. So this sister right here, she is, I believe her mother is from Haiti. She's from Haiti. And she's about to drop some bombs, okay? And this is history from a black perspective, not a French Caucasian perspective. Play.
So why? People will tell you many things through their books, on top of books. You will read as to why the economic reasons why they had to occupy Haiti. Oh, no. The trouble, so much coup d'etats and too many killings of officials and too much trouble in the country. That's why the U.S. had to occupy Haiti. But here's what the U.S. did. When they came in the first time, they occupied Haiti. First, they changed.
They call it IIT. She's talking about Haiti. We say Haiti. That's what she's referencing. So she's referencing, before she talked about how Haiti won their freedom from the French. And now she's making a comparison. Why does the U.S. have to occupy, and why in the world does Haiti seem as just the problem country? There's always a coup d'etat. There's always a problem. And she's breaking down the reason why. Play.
All the worthwhile laws from the books. I'm sorry, that wasn't first. The very first thing was, Haiti was the only country at that time who did not have their money backed in the Americas, backed by the dollar. Our money was backed by gold.
Pause. Captain Matt brought this out many times about Omar Gaddafi. Remember, it was
Muammar Gaddafi was trying to get a currency with other countries, and they were going to be backed by gold. And they were going to move away from the dollar. The U.S. dollar was going to be no longer their reserve currency, and that's why they got him killed.
So those of you, now you know why the French couldn't stand the so-called Haitians, because they did not depend on the dollar. They were building their own economy, kind of like Rosewood, kind of like Black Wall Street. You create a little bit of power, get a little bit of independence, and they end up bombing you and sacking your government and setting up puppets. And this sister is a professor. She has studied at collegiate levels. She has the academia to back up what she's saying. Play on.
Entire reserve, gold reserve, was taken away for safekeeping, we were told, and brought to Fort Knox. It has yet to return home. This was 1915. When somebody asks you, why is there so much poverty? When some white person says, oh, I want to go help the poor people in Haiti, so I'm going to bring a little bread and a little water for them. Ask them, why don't you just ask your government to give them back their gold? Right.
Bring it out, obviously.
Yes.
Think about, bring it out.
That shake you right there, because they cause the conditions, and then they call you all kind of names, poor, the poorest place on earth, but they take the resources, as Cap Matt was bringing out. They take your resources, whatever you try to back your economy with. You can see that going on in Ukraine today.
Mm-hmm.
So remember that, 1915, they took Haiti's gold and put it in Fort Knox for safekeeping. This was right about the time, right before this was during the time of World War I. 1914 to 1918 was World War I. Okay? Remember that. Play on.
What don't they call it a red herring? So right over here, they got World War I going on. But while World War I is going on, everybody's attention is over here. They over there in Haiti, plundering their gold.
And don't forget, also during these time periods, you have the Boston Fruit Company, the United Fruit Company, Dole, and they ransacked and built train railways through Central America and just destroyed and took all the small farms, made these big giant plantations, and put the people out of work. And just, that's why they say it's amazing how the Boston Fruit Company, and not one banana grows in Boston. That was an old saying they used to say. So she's making a comparison of why Haiti is seen in the light as it's seen as, and she's really speaking to white people. We know this, but she's speaking to white people, right? About white people. Play on.
So, we're looking at a country that has set a model for black countries. The only country who had a constitution which was in accord with what the purpose of the people. We cannot have black people enslaved or colonized, and then when we're free, we say, oh, our colonizers are our best friends. They teach us the laws we should have in the books. We're going to take their books to have the schools. We're going to take their doctors to come and build our hospitals. Why the hell then why don't you just stay in slavery or stay in colonization?
Pause. And what she said is, this is important because right now, as of today and yesterday, there are mass protests throughout Africa. What's that brother's name that we're the captain?
Ibrahim Traore.
That brother's like, okay, cool. We'll pay you back, France. Get out, get your military out, get out of our country. We will become self-sufficient.
Yep.
That's what they fear, and that's what the revolution in Haiti did. As a matter of fact, we covered it on the show before. That revolution sparked the uprising of 1810 in New Orleans, Louisiana, right here in this local area. One of the biggest slave uprising that was squashed, and then they tried to erase it from the history books.
Yep.
Okay, they had a whole army that rose up, going from plantation to killing the masses. They had up to 500 to 1,000 men armed in a military formation, walking up and down the Mississippi River, recruiting other slaves.
So this, Cap, is what France is trying to do, right? Just what you just mentioned. They're angry because you're trying to be self-sufficient. We're doing it with the laws and commandments of the Most High God.
Right.
And this puts them in a bad light. And so that's why they want to shut us down. France is known as the city of love, but that's just a cover name for the sexual immorality goes on in France, right? These people invented what? French kissing, you know, and all of this other stuff, but they nasty. And that's why all your big stars and stuff go over there to do immoral stuff. And so France is looking at us saying, hey, these guys are out here talking about the very things that make our country run, especially like we bringing out tonight, taking the resources from other nations and making their people poor and messing over them.
Hey, real quick, because we're going to dedicate, this is important, because right now, why do we say this? It happened in 1915. They took Haiti's gold and they put it in Fort Knox, okay? They won their independence. Haiti won their independence. Later on, Napoleon Bonaparte went over there and the French began to reinstitute slavery after they had agreed to them succeeding, okay? The French have a history of being oppressive, being unfair in every way, shape, and form. Now, let's get to the article, what's going on right now. They're trying to stop not only black history, biblical solutions to the minorities, the so-called blacks, and the 12 tribes that are in cities like Paris. Okay, other cities and places in France. Now, the population of France is less than 10% of the Israelites. Nonetheless, that's still multiple millions of people, for sure. We're going to read an article, and I hope that's not in French. Okay. So this is an article. I like this, but we'll do this, but I want the article where they wrote about IUIC. Remember I told you to get that one? That's what okay, we're going to read this real quick because this is from February 15th, 2023. Before this happened to our brothers in IUIC. The article heading says, 9 in 10 people in mainland France say they are victims of racist discrimination. So last year, about a year ago or so, 2 years ago, excuse me, they did a survey and they interviewed people. This is Le Monde newspaper. And they found that the vast majority of blacks in France felt as if they had been victims of racial discrimination. So we're going to read it.
9 in 10 black people in mainland France say they are victim of racist discrimination. Scroll up. There we go. A new and alarming report on racism has been published in France on Wednesday, February 15th. The Representative Council of France Black Association will present to the Assembly Nationale its second evaluation of the perception and experience of discrimination against black people in France.
So here's the thing that I get out of that. They had a first one, and it wasn't good enough, so they had to have a second evaluation because there's a problem. There's a problem with France and the way that they treat black people, and the perception is very real from black folks that are talking about their experience. Okay, read on.
This survey by the global market research company, IPSO, Ipsos, was conducted among a sample of 807 French people representing of the black population or mixed race population of black descent.
Right. So all you they had black people with black fathers and black mothers. Okay. They had so-called regular black people with black mother and father, and they did a sample, meaning they didn't go to 807 people that live in the same neighborhood. They took people, some from this town, a bunch from this city, and they did a random sample to find out. So it wasn't they got them all in the room and swayed their opinions. This was a mass study. Read on. The study reveals
that 91% of respondents in mainland France answered that they have been victims of racial discrimination, often or from time to time.
So not one time, often or from time to time. 91% of the 807 people, black French people that they surveyed, said there's a problem. This is the France that we want to think is, they are the righteous of the Edomites. They're the ones who shed light on the civil rights movement. They're the ones who brought the Statue of Liberty over. Well, they are horrible to black people. Yep. And here's from Le Monde newspaper, an organization that had to take multiple samples, not 9%. 9% would have been 91%. And so if they were like that, 2 years ago, what were they like 200 years ago? Okay, this is what's going on right now with our people in Israel in Christ. Right now in France, they are going through this at a whole nother level. Being told we can't wear fringes, can't wear a certain color, can't gather together, keeping the commandments of God in an assembly, saying that's illegal to do that. Okay, that's in 2 Maccabees chapter 6. We go over it all the time.
Historically speaking, that goes back to Spain and Portugal. Did the exact same thing. We couldn't meet. We had to hide in households. If we were caught eating, if we wouldn't eat pork, they would put us to death, take our children, enslave our children. So this is the same pattern that took place during that time.
Absolutely. So just remember, we're not going to read the whole article. We just showed you can read it for yourself, that a randomized study about 2 years ago of 807 people throughout the mainland of France. This is not even talking about Martinique. By the way, Martinique right now, they're in some French colonies, they're uprising. They had to put a, what they call it, when you put curfews on people.
Yeah.
No, but there's a term for it. In the U.S., what do they call it? When you, National Guard, martial law.
Martial law.
There's martial law instituted in certain French colonies because of the oppression. So this is from the mainland, where all the Caucasians live. This is what they do there, okay? Now, let's read about one specific act of this, which is what our brothers and sisters, shout out to every one of you brothers and sisters right now in France, stay strong. This too shall pass. The Most High is going to make a way for y'all. Don't lose faith. Don't lose hope, all right? The whole nation, we are with you in spirit, and we are going to be there to support you. You heard the classes, the bishops and the deacons and the captains been doing. Okay, read.
Anti-Semitism, homophobia, warlike speech. What is Israel United in Christ? The association dissolved this Thursday.
So Bishop Nathaniel brought up and he did an excellent class about how, was it Jehovah's Witnesses? How in their pamphlets, they have almost the same thing that we have. With the difference is, the figures that they have are Caucasian. Mm-hmm. And they have thousands and thousands and thousands of members with the same message, which some of their message is biblically accurate. Like they believe that women should wear dresses. That's true. And Christ is coming back for war. That's true. Why aren't they being disbanded?
Right.
Let's really think about that. Also, if you look up Islamic violence in France, there is cases where Islamic extremists have killed people in France. Why aren't they banning Islam in France? We have done no crimes. We have not done anything illegal, and that's why they had to make laws and they have under 100 people, men, women, and children. And Bishop brought that. Bishop, I'm just reiterating a couple points that Bishop made. Let's read that, and then we're going to jump into the main part of the show. I want to show y'all, we showed you that the French have a long history of oppressing black people throughout the whole African continent, all the way to the Caribbean, to in Asian countries, okay? And they have an history on their mainland of oppressing black people as recently as 2023 from a professional study, a random sample of 807 black people and black people of mixed race. Yeah, that like, yeah, you're less of a nigger. They just talk about you more behind your back, stupid. Right. Okay, read.
Among the many offenses accused, this association registered in Cine St. Denis since 2019. Advocates, according to the government, a hate speech towards communities.
So let's, first of all, okay, homophobia. IUIC France does not practice homophobia. What we want to have happen is all our brothers and sisters that practice that lifestyle, which is a sin, that they come out of that. Okay, guess what? If you was a adulterer, if you believed in other gods, that's a sin. They got to come out of that, just like people that homo just means same. They got to come out of that. As for war speech, everything now is peace. The war comes later. If you don't get yourself right by the time Christ returns, war is coming for you. We teach peace, keep the commandments. And part of that is giving warning. We're going to warn you of the things that's going to come, not right now. And so they have to create a persona, and then they can sensationalize that in the media like they're doing now to create a public opinion. It's called trial by public opinion. Yep. They put you out there, okay? Read on.
According to the government, a hate speech towards communities, women, homosexuals, or promotes...
Okay, and I don't want to go every point. Hate speech towards communities. Really? We clean up communities. We have youth violence and conflict resolutions for communities. Does the Jehovah's Witness do that? And if they do, okay, so why aren't you persecuting them on the things that they say in their pamphlet? It goes back to if you are coming with anything that's a black upliftment, they're going to come against you, just like Napoleon did, just like their government does to its citizens as recently as 2023. Scroll down. I want to see a couple other points.
Right, Cal. We do missing persons missions.
Bring it out.
That shed light on the missing people, especially women in our community that have gone missing. We the ones that scouring the earth trying to find those people, letting it be known this person is missing, last seen in this city, that city. And a few people we've actually recovered. All praise to the Most High.
Multiple people we have recovered back to their parents, and we work in conjunction in support of the police department, because when we keep the commandments of God, we make the police job easier. We do many things involved in the community. And this is why we know that we're getting close to the end of the last days, because the dragon, which is the seven heads, which is the white race, and I got to say it like that, they are the powers that be. They can judge time by what we're doing in the earth, and they know their time is coming up. It's coming up, all right?
So
yes, sir.
Clearly, France is against the positive things that we're doing for our people. They don't want our people to get out of the drug-ridden, rat-infested lifestyle that many of our people live in, where we're teaching them not to have children out of wedlock,
right?
Not to harm your brother, not to steal from your brother. Look out for your brother. This is what France does not, because the same techniques that they used during the 1800s and so forth, invading other lands, they still use those same exact techniques to try to keep the people under control. And that's what's going on in Africa. They breaking that hole they got on them, and they don't like it.
And that brother Abraham, that guy, he was the beret. He looks very masculine, very strong. He is the modern day revolutionary for the black diaspora, right? In the carnal sense, they see that. We know that Christ is coming back for us, and we cannot rise up militarily here. We understand that we're going to be servants to the land of in the land of our enemies. Speaking of what you just said, pull up video number 4. Not 4, sorry. Pull up number 5, Martinique. We showed you in the beginning, Martinique is one of the French colonies. Look what's going on in Martinique. This is as recently, I want to say, as less than a year ago, what's happening this is very recently. Watch what's going on. This is a French colony.
Unrest continues to rock the French Caribbean island of Martinique. The territory's main airport was targeted by demonstrators in the fresh protest decrying a high cost of living. The latest round of violence prompted the government to announce another curfew from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. until Monday. Local media reported scenes of looting. Schools have been temporarily closed, and the teaching hospital announced it had triggered an emergency plan, which notably enables for the postponement of surgeries and the temporary mobilization of additional personnel. In 2020, 27% of Martinique residents lived below the poverty line.
Pause. That's a 27% of the Martinique population, and that's, by the way, that's not white Arabs or East Indians. That is black citizens of Martinique. 27% of the black Martinique population lives below poverty. Then you have poverty level. Then you have slightly above poverty level. It is such a horrible system because the way that the French have their tariffs, the way that they have their taxes, it is very hard for them to survive. We were there. We saw the level of oppression. Again, this is a French colony. A French colony. This is, and I don't know the date on this, this was very recently, by the way. Okay? That's another example.
Can I get something?
Bring it out.
Hey, can you Google France in Africa? I just want the number. I want to show them something because this is what they're afraid of. They're afraid of this right here. Just quick Google search France in Africa, and the first thing that comes up. I'll read it myself.
Bring it out.
Watch this. They think our people are stupid. Just click, watch this. What does it say right here? The first one, France and Africa. He didn't get it. Pray if I text him. I'll read it. Don't worry about it. I got it. The AI overview says French is a significant language in Africa, serving as official language in numerous countries and lingua franca in others. It's estimated to be spoken by 167 million people.
Wow.
That's how many people speak French. So really think about it. They're like, okay, dang, they speak French. They might understand what these brothers out here with these fringes on are saying. That's going to cause a problem. If you look at where France is located, Africa's here. France is like right. If you look at it on a map, France
Pull
is
up
like
a map. Pull up a map. The Mediterranean Sea. You're going to see. And this is why they want us. They said, listen, they know that we're traveling the world. They know that we've been to Martinique. They know that we're in other African countries where they speak French. Haiti, we're in Haiti. They understand that if they can stop it in the mainland, they'll feel that they're doing something.
Bingo.
And this the other thing, this guy, Abraham, they're going to try to kill them.
Yep.
They've attempted several times already. Yeah. They've attempted several times.
And this is the thing that we got to understand, y'all. Like I was asking one of the podcasts that we did over in South Africa, what do I think about that, brother? And I said that we admire what Ibrahim's doing. In a carnal sense, I get it. You want to uplift and liberate black people. But the Israelites, we were sent to the land of our captivities to repent. And we don't have power. The Most High is going to put power to make these prophetic things happen to bring Armageddon in these last days. But, so to Micah's point, Algeria is right, 6 o'clock, right below France. That's a huge African country with all black people, mostly all black people, okay? You've got, where else?
Morocco speaks French.
Yep.
And then right underneath Algeria and Morocco, you got Mali and Burkina Faso.
Yep. There you go.
If any of the words of the prophets reach Morocco or Algeria, it's going to burn like fire all the way right down there to Burkina Faso.
They know that.
And scroll down. If you can go down to Africa. Also, remember, we read before, Madagascar, which the French went all the way around the South Africa, down around the Cape of Good Hope, and they colonized Madagascar. And later on, I'm going to show you some French. Where the French have military bases still to this day in certain parts. Now,
it's all about rank. You got your first world countries, your second world countries, and your third world countries. If France can't loot other countries,
there you go.
They become a third world country. Exactly. And they really a third world country that's just robbing other countries to oppress them. That's what it's about, oppression.
Do me a favor. Pull up the Code Noir, the Black Code. We're not going to read the whole thing. It's 5 pages, but I want to read a couple of quick sections. Let's start first with the initial shaping of it, the first paragraph. Okay. Remember, this is Louis. That's Louis the 14th. And obviously, this was written in cursive penmanship, like they have calligraphy, and they took this and they typed it out for us. All right, bear with us. Tech teams training the guys to become more proficient. Okay, why is this important? Because just like the sister said, the professor, if you actually think you're going to try to fight for your freedom and then depend and trust on your oppressors' ideologies of religion, education, medicine, you think that's going to help you? No, that's why the scriptures say we have to come out of her. Give me Revelation 18:4. We have to come out of the mindset of our enemies. That's why we are going to create our own land. We're going to create our own sanctuaries where we have create commerce amongst ourselves and create communities. And it's a slow but sure process because we are relying on us like we did with the land fund. We came together. Those were our people. And thank you so much for all of you that showed up and did your thing. Okay? Can we?
I got Revelation Cap.
Okay. I did ask for it like 15 minutes ago. All right. Let me read it. It says the Code Noir initially took shape in Louis the 14th's edict of 1685. Although subsequent decrees, can you blow up a little bit, please? Just make it magnify a little bit more, please. Thank you. The first document established the main lines for the policing of slavery right up to 1789. The very first article expels all Jews. Let me read it again. And this ain't Jewish people with the yarmulkes on. That's not who they're talking about. Okay? The very first article expels all Jews from the colonies. Jews played a significant but hardly dominant role in the Dutch colonies of the Caribbean region, but were not allowed to own property or slaves, or slaves in the, as they'll play in words, of the French colonies. The edict also, now, real quick, get me number 4, because I'm going to prove to you that we in Haiti, they had a whole separate colored class, and this colored class owned plantations. So when they say don't let it trip you up and make you think that it's talking about Jewish people. Watch this. I'm going to show you that. There's a whole colored class, and some of our people in Haiti owned plantations. You know what I'm talking about? The naval professor? Yes. Number 4, yep. Okay. Timestamp 18 seconds. This is the history. And yes, the sister needs to lose weight. Sharika, that's a black name. That's a black name. Sharika Crawford. They don't get worse than that. Sharika Crawford. Imagine you playing for a job. Yes, and they don't see her yet, right? And they calling her, right? Sharika Crawford. I mean, when your mother names you that, you kind of, it is like Susan Crawford, you can get away with it. But Sharika or Shalonda or Sharonda or Lakeisha, like one of my brother's sister's name was Lakeisha. Anyways, read, play on.
U.S. Naval Academy. And I want to dig into the causes and legacies of one of the most important revolutions in world history. The Haitian Revolution started in 1791 on the western half of a Caribbean island called Hispaniola. The island's indigenous people once called it Haiti, and today it's called Haiti.
Quick, remember this, the island's indigenous people were called Haiti. That's why they call it Haiti today. The island's indigenous people, you got to understand something, were the 10 tribes of Israel that were already here, okay? And then in 1619 and something before that, because some of the slaves were brought from the Iberian Peninsula before they were taken from the west coast of, we know that. But this right here, that's where he gets his name, from the native. Like you get the Boricua, the Haiti. That's talking about the natives of that land. A lot of people don't know that. Play on.
Here, the French colony of Saint-Domingue was France's most lucrative.
Saint-Domingue. When you hear about Saint-Domingue, this was the most lucrative. The French had this Caribbean on lockdown because of this place right here. And it wasn't, it was the backside of the island. It wasn't even where current day Dominican Republic. All that there was prime business. Play on.
Producing 60% of the world's coffee.
Paul, you heard
half
that? The French white man controlled 60% of the world's coffee from that place right there. This one was showing you that the French have a history of oppression. We think about the white man in America. It's horrible. But the French were on the same level of evil. All right, play on.
The colony teetered on an unstable social pyramid. At the top were the so-called Grand Blancs, white plantation owners. Below them were the Petit Blancs, the working class and civil servants.
Pause. I got to put this plain. Grand Blancs are rich slave plantation owning white folks. Petit Blancs or Blanco is talking about the poor white people. I want you to remember this. Read on. Play on.
They resented the power and wealth of the Grand Blancs.
That's where you get classism. Classism. Poor white people that you see in all these old British movies. Poor white people. Oh, the rich. Down with the king. All that stuff. That's where that comes from. Play on.
Conflicted with free people of color.
Pause. So there were free people of color in the 16 and 1700s in Saint-Domingue. Watch this. Play on.
Free people of color were often very wealthy, and many even owned plantations.
So the concept to think that all black people were slaves, most of us was. Some of us owned plantations and we had money. But there's something that we always understood. Play on.
Yet because of their skin color, they did not enjoy the same rights as the Petit Blancs.
Do y'all hear that? You could own a plantation, have all kind of money, but because you were black or brown, the poorest of the white had more power than you. And that's what we're showing you. When you go back and they said the Jews, they expelled the Jews out of, I forget where it said, those were Jews, and some of us at the time had power and we had money. It wasn't the Jews, the Jewish people with the curls. That was not the people who were expelled out of there. That was not them. Okay?
Hey, they had the same thing in New Orleans. They call them passe blanc, meaning they passed for white.
So when that revolution took place, a lot of the rich black people fled right here to New Orleans, to the French Quarter. The movie is Eve of All Saints. And you'll see they having the fight and everything, and then the people flee here, and they end up here in the French Quarter, and you end up with, them mixing and everything, and you end up with the, how you say it,
Passe blanc.
Passe blanc people. So they all came out of Haiti and everything right here to our very own French Quarter.
Y'all hear that? Y'all got to understand. Toussaint L'Ouverture, when the Haitians rose up, they inspired people throughout the whole world. That's why right now, when it goes to IUIC, the same spirit that Toussaint L'Ouverture had to help rise up black people, right, is the same spirit that they see in my man Ibrahim, which is respectfully, it's misguided, right? And they see the same spirit with Is United in Christ, but they know we're small in numbers, but we're guided right. And that's what they fear. Now, the point is, free people of color had money, they had all this, but when it came to putting them class-wise against Petit Blancs, which was poor whites, they could not compete. Showing you it doesn't matter how much money you get, black man. You are never going to rise above your race.
Never.
Okay? And I'm just showing you. This is what we got to understand. We are in this fight together. And this is why if our brothers in France are going through it, we going through it. We going through what they're going through. You got to imagine this happened to you right now. You were being told you can't meet in the same house or say certain words or wear apparel that you paid for. Come on, man. Like, this is the first real wave of oppression that we're seeing, okay? And our brothers in Kenya, okay, got oppressed by the Christian church, which is a white-run society that taught those Kenyans the philosophies of white Christianity. And that's why they did that.
Yep.
Okay? Play on. We almost done. We got to move on.
The social hierarchy was 90% of the island's population, over 400,000 enslaved Africans. forced to work the island's plantations under brutal conditions. They made plantation owners and the French Empire very rich. I found an expert on the subject, Professor Marlena Doubt.
Pause. So this sister, this next sister we're about to see, make no mistake, she's an Israelite, but she may be one of those that might pass like in certain circles. And she's going to talk about what happened on the island of Saint-Domingue or Haiti, that they call it, right? She's going to talk about some of the things. So watch this next. These are both professors, by the way, that have studied history. Play on.
Understand how these conditions led to revolution. Professor, what was life like for an enslaved person in Saint-Domingue?
Life in Saint-Domingue was incredible.
You see that? When you look someone like her, you say, "Oh, no." See her lips. That someone in her family she come from. She knows that she has black in her history. Okay, and a lot of people would say, "Oh, no. You gotta know." Play on.
Harsh. For an enslaved person who was directly forcibly transported from Africa, the life expectancy was 2 to 3 years. For an enslaved person,
did y'all hear that? It's like when down here they have a place called the Whitney Plantation, and they used to say if you were up in the Delta, they would send you down the river to die at the Whitney Plantation. So life in Haiti was very hard. At certain plantations, your life expectancy, she says, was 2 to 3 years. And if you were born into slavery, you usually lasted up until about 16 years old. This is the conditions that were so harsh. The slaves said, we had enough of this. If you get to the point where so much oppression, you see people dying around you, we got nothing to lose. And they rose the hell up. They rose up, okay? And this is why, like, Toussaint L'Ouverture, that brother historically, he has our respect. Okay, Nat Turner, these brothers have our respect. Okay, read, play on.
Colony, the life expectancy was about 16 years old. There was just so much harsh punishment, so much backbreaking labor, and the colonists seemed to believe that it was cheaper to just replenish, by which I mean keep bringing the slavers and the slaving ships and purchasing.
Those are French slave ships. Never forget what the French have done to black people around the earth, and particularly on the island of Haiti. Play on.
To force them into labor than to actually create better conditions that would sustain human life. And so when writers of the time period talked about Saint-Domingue teetering, on the edge of a volcano, like the crater of a volcano, this is what they meant.
How did the revolution begin?
So the Haitian Revolution formally begins in August of 1791, on the night between August 13th and August 14th at what is called the Ceremony of Bois Caïman, is a gathering of enslaved people led by a man named Boukman Dadi and another.
Boukman. Haitians always about Boukman. And what happened is the slave masters gave them a certain amount of liberty. So they actually began to organize and create strategy on how they could rise up, and that's exactly what Boukman. Yeah, Deacon Labo was talking about Boukman, and he was a liberator. Okay, play on.
A spiritual leader named Cécile Fatima, and they basically give speeches to enslaved representatives from the plantations, and within about a week's time, hundreds of plantations are on fire. The goal of the revolution at this moment is to set the plantations on fire, set the fields on fire, so that the slave economy can't function anymore.
And so that's what they did. They did the same thing in the Whitney Plantation in Louisiana. What they would do is some brothers got so sick and tired, they had these big sugar bowls. And what they would do is they just had enough of life. They would sabotage and throw themselves in the sugar bowl and destroy the crop. That's a military strategy. Okay, so if I gotta die for my people to go, they started to burn the plantations. And when you go into history, they fought for years and years and years. Toussaint was a general. He fought great guerrilla warfare, and they overcame, and the French eventually gave in. They had representatives that go back to France. They signed treaties and all that, and they won their independence, so to speak. But like the sister said, with the fro in the beginning, she said, that's a mistake. How can you get freedom from your oppressors and then go back and trust in their education, their new, for them to help you set up laws? That's the mistake that they made. And then what happened is Napoleon came back and they reinstituted slavery. This is the French we're talking about. 200 some odd years ago, this is what they were doing. So the seed of the French Caucasian is doing the same thing today, shutting down Israel United Christ in France for what? What crimes have we committed? Shows you the oppression. They don't want to see the empowerment of black people and the liberation of black people's minds. They don't want to see that. I'm good. You brothers want to bring something out about this? I have everything I covered.
Hey, that's popular persuasions. That's what it goes down to. We have done nothing. And they know that. They know that. We teach the same thing that the Bible says. If you open up the Bible, it says it that we spiritual warfare. You look up the scriptures, it says that Christ is a man of war. You look in the book of Revelations, it say he was on a horse and he made war. All of these different things. And they say, they're promoting violence by saying they fight for their people. Come on now.
And look, we mentioned about the Jehovah's Witness. They go door to door teaching that. They out on the street corners all over the place with their magazines. It's right in their magazines. It's very same things that we're teaching. They're teaching right out of their magazines. They even went to the Supreme Court of the United States to be allowed to do that. So how you going to discriminate? Now, this is a different country. France is different. And we also know that Louisiana is under French law as well. But, yes, sir. And so, but they get to propagate their religion around the world. They're going into so-called third world countries preaching. Nobody bothers them. And another point about France, if they got a problem with our beliefs and our religion, what about the Catholic religion and all that they've done? Murdered, killed, overtaken whole populations and nations. They're not bothering them. They're allowed to continue doing what they're doing. So it is about racism. It's about we God's people, and they don't want that.
Hey, do we have a picture of that quote from Napoleon?
Yes.
That's what we're dealing with right here. That quote from Napoleon when he said he wanted to stop the progress of black people.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna shut down the Jewish synagogues over there. Are they gonna shut them down? Tell them they can't wear them Barbie doll curls and them little zeets or that damn microphone hat. They gonna tell them they can't do that?
Nope. They can go all over. They can go into Africa and teach the people that they're Jewish and have them do all of their rituals, but not us teaching them strictly about what the Bible says.
Let's see.
My decision to destroy the authority of the blacks in St. Domingo is not so much based on considerations of commerce and money.
It's not about money for him. It's not about, they might get more money. They might just have, and we can attribute this to what they did to black people in America as well. It wasn't because Black Wall Street was prosperous. It wasn't because they had commerce and money and businesses. What was it about? Read on.
Napoleon wrote, as on the need to block forever to forward march of blacks in the world.
It wasn't about money. It was their need to block our progress. Mm-hmm. They did not want us to progress in any way, shape, or form. And now, Israel united in Christ with the power of the Most High behind us, we are progressing to change the minds of our people. Get them back on track for what they're supposed to know in the Bible, know in their life, how to operate, and knowing who their enemy is, that judgment is coming for their enemies, and they can have peace and be patient and wait for the judgment of their enemies. They don't want that. That's progress.
They don't want those shackles off your mind. That's what they're fighting against. They don't want our people to be woken up. You know, it's over here spoken of as the woke. How they put that? The
woke community.
Yeah, the woke community. They don't want us to be actually knowing what's going on. They want us to stay asleep.
And that's what's going on. We want to continue to shed light. But now, right now, would you do me a favor? Pull up Ibrahim and if you Google this, mass demonstrations for Ibrahim. If you Google that, it's going to show you hundreds of thousands. This is happening today and yesterday. Standing up for Ibrahim. Okay. It should be pretty easy to do. Now I'll do it in a second. Somebody, you brothers, look real quick. Ibrahim. Okay. All right, look, this is what we're gonna do. Y'all continue to support. Y'all pray for our brothers and sisters in France, and best believe that the Most High is going to bring judgment on that country and that government for unjustly, putting decrees to disband our organized nation from gathering and keeping God's Sabbath and holy days. Yes, is this it? This is what's going on right now. Massive protests in Burkina Faso, in mainland France and America for Ibrahim Traoré. Okay, I think I said that name. Traoré. Okay, watch this. This is why they say, because they know that these governments want him assassinated. Okay, just like they did with Gaddafi, just like they did with Patrice Lumumba. I believe that's how you say his name.
Patrice Lumumba.
Lumumba. Okay. Play.
Evil agenda by the West to eliminate Burkina Faso leader Ibrahim Traoré. A lot of African leaders, mostly Burkina Faso, have trooped out in their streets to protest for their leader Ibrahim Traoré. As you can see here, you see most of them coming out to show support.
And this is a very passive view. What I saw, I'm surprised a whole bunch of stuff didn't come up, and they're suppressing it. There were much larger demonstrations than that. Do you have access to just a regular search engine? Because I'm getting... I'm having technical difficulties. All right, what's what we're going to do? We had other things planned, but we're not going to worry about that. But just know, brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters in France are going through it. And it's because the seed of Napoleon, the French, the sons and daughters of the French Caucasian man has always had war, colonialism, slavery, thievery, and injustice in their hearts. And what do we think is going to be 200 years later? Is everything going to change? No.
I got one for you, Cap. There you go.
Okay, this is how do you not get this one? Look, and by the way, this is, and I just want to I'm going to make a disclaimer. We believe to an extent that this is in France based upon what we're, and they don't have buildings like that in Africa. That's more of French architecture. Mm-hmm. This is protests in France. The same article we had that in 2023, a randomized study of 807 black people throughout France said that 91% of them were victims of continued and ongoing racial discrimination. This is the same country. So this is why they don't want, like Captain Matt, it to spread like wildfire. Christ is black? Wait a minute. You telling me that Moses and the prophets, and I can go to Eastern Europe and see these unstained glass windows, and I can go up to the Netherlands and see black men with crowns and on their heads on the top of buildings? They don't want, and Ibrahim, he represents the breaking away from the white power structure. And I'm telling you, black, this right here, the Lord going to bring judgment on France. Play that. Pause. Those are. There may be over 100,000 people in that one area. Go back and rewind it again. Look at the sheer number of people.
Yep. That's just what they can see from their vantage point.
So that's what's happening in France, and they're doing the same thing in other French colonies and other African countries. protesting because they see Ibrahim as a beacon of light. And that's what the quote you said, Captain Matthew, the French government under Napoleon, who was a general, wanted to stop the progression of black people.
Yep.
Halt it. So with that being said, we covered France. We're going next to the next hottest thing right now with our very own Officer Yasser with his book review. You know he's got something fire to review. Y'all sit back and get ready. Stick around, y'all. Shalom.
I got the power. Come on. And the whole world in my hand. You want this? Power. My hand is warm. I got the power. Come on. And the whole world in my hand.
Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ. Blessed. Kind of hard to go into the book review after all of that information coming out. But tonight we're going to go back into a medical apartheid. You can put up the image. Oh, that's the, well, hold that. That's the sister book that Harriet A. Washington does. And that goes into the monopolies that the pharmaceutical companies run. And it goes into their motive for their medications and stuff that they pass out. And it's part of scientific racism is going on with a lot of these pharmaceutical companies sending their old medicines into what they call third world countries where a lot of black people live at. Can we pull up the one with medical apartheid? No, maybe not. Okay. Let's get the, where is it at? Oh, there it is, book review. Let me pull up the article with JFK on there real quick. We're just going to read it just as it pops up. And then we're going to go right to a couple of points in the book.
RFK Jr.'s stunning claim about black people and vaccines sparks concern for medical experts.
Scroll up just a little bit. Yes, a little bit more. So go ahead and read it.
Yes, sir. From COVID-19 conspiracy theories to confusion on the fact about Medicare and Medicaid to refusing to say that vaccines aren't linked to autism. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s February confirmation hearing on Capitol Hill were anything but smooth for someone who is hoping to lead the Department of Health and Human Services.
A little bit more.
While his history of anti-vaccine remarks was a major talking point throughout the hearing.
Hold on. Skip down to that next paragraph.
Yes, sir.
Right there.
In 2021, Kennedy had said, we should not be giving black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours.
So this is part of a medical apartheid, how we are treated differently than other nations. We remember when they had Ebola, there was a vaccine made for only European people that wouldn't work for black people. That's part of medical apartheid. Let's go into the book. Okay, so page 27 in the book. You got that one? So page 27, the point there is the South as a hub for medical experiments. Now, we're going back into the time of slavery, and this is a lineage that we're dealing with. It's hereditary from the time of slavery until our time now, how we were treated. Excuse me. Go ahead and read that.
Yes, sir. It's from the book, The Medical Apartheid. The South was a particularly unhealthy region and was home to 90% of American blacks, the majority of whom were enslaved until 1865.
So if we understand that this is the time of slavery, when the people walked around with no shoes on and pig pens, they got hookworms in their feet, and all kind of other diseases. They were dealing with Europeans, Africans coming over. They were exposed to new viruses and all of that, just like smallpox and all of that. So we understand that these people were in dire straits, and this is how they were receiving their medical treatment. Let's go to page 30. And here's the problem. And it sort of reminds you of COVID-19. We're going to just kind of really quick touch this here, and then we ain't going to be able to get to too much. You got it? Can you make it a little bigger for him?
American bodies. The records revealed that slaves were both medically neglected and abused because they were powerless and legally invisible. The courts were almost completely uninterested in the safety and health rights of the enslaved.
So remember, they're slaves, and they're seen as property. They were oppressed people. That's what they really were. And they treated them according to the economical system. Whatever the owner, the slave master would say, then that's how they would get treated. It was the benefit to get them back out in the field so that they would be productive. Didn't really take into consideration that they were living souls. And so that's how their rights, they didn't have any rights, and that's how they messed over. And that's a medical apartheid. That's scientific racism. That's how they were treating them. It was really bad back then. We're going to get to, I know I don't have much time, we're going to get to the part where right here in Louisiana, their very own charity hospital, how they treated us as guinea pigs. They used us. We have pictures. Put up that one picture, and we're gonna close it out right there. That's where they would bring us in, and they would openly operate on us. No medicine. They would bloodlet us. They would purge us, and all of that's in the book. We're not going to have time to cover that much in this short section, but we will, week in and week out, get to it. That's Charity Hospital's observation room. Right? Shalom.
I got the power. Come on. And the whole world in my hand. You want this? Power. My hand is one.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Most High in Christ bless. Why don't you subscribe? IUIC New Orleans, subscribe. Go to our YouTube page. Help us to grow. Comment, like, share. What's going on? Make it happen.
I love seeing this. They need more of it. You know what I'm saying? These children don't really got nothing to follow right now. So bring some positive in front of their face. Let them see that.
You see what we out here doing? Hey, but we need brothers like y'all to get out here with us, man.
They out here trying to mimic the gangsters, mimic the good people.
That's what Jesus really looked like. Jesus looked like he could be your daddy, your grandfather. We out here to change, to make a difference in the community. And hopefully we'll instill something in them for them to do better.
I came to win. That's all I wanted.
We're out here putting in our bricks, trying to help clean up the community.
Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Officer Yasa, New Orleans congregation, and we're out here doing another community cleanup. And if you look around here, what comes to mind is the scripture in Isaiah 1:3, which tells us that our people don't know their owner, and as well you can see that they're unconscious. And so we're out here as a congregation, as a family of Israel United in Christ, to wake our people up.
I love
Here we are, showing black and brown unity. We're showing them that we got to come under God's commandments. We got to come back to the unity that we once lost. Blacks and Hispanics, Native Americans, we are the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel.
The Brown Berets, the Black Panthers, the Young Lords, they had a revolutionary spirit.
you think about what you see so far, man?
Perfect, man.
How are you?
Ladies and gentlemen, there's the green king. Let's go. Hey, 12. Hey, 12 up. 6 down. 12 up. 6 down. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Shalom, Most High in Christ. Bless. Cap Matt here. Hey, look, we got a special thing for y'all today. This past week, I think we premiered 5 videos from Original Royalty. Now, obviously, we're not going to play all 5 tonight because we still got to keep our show rolling. We're going to play 1.5. All right? One is from Bishop Kanaz, a.k.a. The Pen, his new album entitled Tents of Judah, and my very own album entitled Truth of the Matter. All right, so the first one comes from Bishop Kanai's album, a.k.a. The Pen, Tents of Judah. Play that first video.
Yeah, man, that was good, man. Come on out. Let's listen to it. Life was eternal. Then we started to lose. To make matters worse, we put first, then added the booze. Bruh. This part right here. If you come too near her.
Ain't no way, bruh.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
She a hoe, bruh. Bruh.
No.
Yeah, bro.
What?
Yeah, I just found out, bro.
You should do a song about it. You should do a song. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this.
I got something.
Already?
I got something, bro.
Dang.
Yeah, bro.
I'm out of beats, though. I don't even have a beat right now. God, if only we had a beat.
I actually got a beat. I was working on a beat right now. This is the perfect beat for exactly what y'all are talking about.
Boy, where the hell you come from, man?
Hey, I sent the beat to you. I sent it to you.
Okay.
I got something, bro.
You got something?
I got something.
Hey, yo, live you well, man.
She's a pretty mamacita with some pretty brown eyes. A head of woolly hair, it's all a disguise. She talk a good game, but then her heart is full of lies. Got a 6-shooter cooter, she be taking men's lives. Whoa, you gotta let her go. She tried to take it slow. You dodged a bullet, boy, I tell you right now. Said, oh, you gotta let her go. She did nothing wrong. You had your home team thinking that you're holy, and then you're playing in my face just like you wanted me. But now you're sitting at the body looking lonely. But the truth of the whole matter, you was horny. Yeah, you ran all out of patience, you forgot I was the prize. Should've opened your Bible, you should've closed the fast. Brought shame to your daddy, ain't holding his head up high. Did all of that for nothing, I got us wondering why. Yeah, she's a pretty mamacita with some pretty brown eyes. A head of woolly hair, baby, it's all a disguise. She talked a good game, but then her heart is full of lies. Got a 6-shooter cooler, she be taking men's lives. Whoa, you gotta let her go. She tried to take it slow. You dodged a bullet, boy, I tell you right now. Said, oh, whoa, you gotta let her go. She got a deep hole. She wiped her mouth and said she did nothing wrong. Ha, yeah, bang, bang. slanging that thing. Choo-choo, you was riding that train. Yeah, it was you ain't got no one to blame. That kitty cat, man, them scriptures couldn't tame. You had a chance, yeah, you had a good thing. And now it's done and life ain't all what it seemed. A nightmare, but it could have been a dream. But life goes on, I know one day this song you'll sing. Yeah, she's a pretty mamacita with some pretty brown eyes. A head of woolly hair, baby, it's all a disguise. She talk a good game, but then her heart is full of lies. Got a 6-shooter cooler, she be taking men's lives. Ooh, oh, oh, you gotta let her go. She tried to take your soul. You dodged a bullet, boy, I tell you right now. Said, oh, you gotta let her go. She got a deep hole. She wiped her mouth and said she did nothing wrong.
Hey, that was Yawan and the Pen with Dodge the Bullet. Hey, shout out to my brother Yawan. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all brothers that are still single, and you got to make the right choice, all right? Or else you're going to get hit by the bullet. You want to dodge the bullet like he was doing to Lil' Kim, you know what I'm saying? Hey, but the next one is from my album entitled Truth of the Matter. It's the single with myself, Yuri, and Sister Shira, and it is entitled Angels. All right, let's get that rolling.
Eyes brighter than the sun, looking every way. On a mission, if God tell me hit the place, my soul going crazy till it break, or he tell me stay. I'm in the sun, waiting patient. Listen to the Father, taking heed to the ancients. The price up on their head like they did in our statement. We gon' bring this kingdom down, you can call it down payment. Punishment coming in a lump sum. They getting fired from the pit, yeah, they done. I wanna be there when they try to fight us punch drunk. Then watch them all turn to smoke when the sun come. The word fire in his people would to try to beat us or defeat us, yeah, you wish you could. I can't wait until the day they off this earth for good. The book's open, and then the angels, we the angels. Fire with no wind, when we speak, we bring the flames through. Prophesy destruction, ain't no bluffing, ain't no fables. The zeal of the Lord, I'm like Christ flipping tables. We making same moves, cause we the angels. Fire with no wind, when we speak, we bring the flames through. Prophesy destruction, ain't no bluffing, ain't no fables. The zeal of the Lord, I'm like Christ flipping tables. We making same moves, cause we the angels.
I come from a long line of angels. Four mothers is Sarah, Leah, Rebecca, and Rachel. Morning sun on my skin and most hobby who I pray to. Marathon drip, ain't nobody bout the race, boo. Make sure you put some proper respect on my daddy name. It's royalty that's flowing through my veins. See, I'm a wife to a king. It's a flex, it's a thing. Left his father and his mother, and to me is who he clean. I go out of my way to make sure he got what he need. I birthing babies further our nation and races see. We one with the speech, one with the moves, one with the body, one with the bruise. Payback gon' get gritty. I'll be sitting pretty while it's popping off. We gon' sing this little ditty. Red rum, angels hunting them down. Red rum, angels taking the crown.
We the angels.
Hey, y'all gotta go on YouTube and get the rest of it, man. We gotta get back to the show, but hey, all praise to the Most High. Go get both albums, all right? Tents of Judah, Truth of the Matter, Matt the Truth, and the Pen, Tents of Judah. Go to originalroyalty.com. Get the albums. Support. All right, Israel. Most High in Christ bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the king. Let's go.
Hey, Shalom. Welcome back. Welcome back to Precept Upon Precept. We had the first part. We went into France. Then we had Officer Yasser's book review, the intermission, Captain Matt with his Kingdom music, and now the 100 Days of Trump, Babylon, partly strong, partly broken. Why is it partly strong? Because militarily it is still the premier, most powerful military. How is it partly broken? Because the country is imploding, high tariffs, prices are going up, the threat of empty shelves, and a lot of broken promises and empty, unfulfilled words by Donald Trump. So, start first with McGregor. We're going to do the first 3 minutes of Colonel McGregor. He is, we reference him all the time. He used to be actually work in the first Trump administration. Can we pull that? We're having a tough time tonight. All right, so this is Colonel McGregor on, just let it play, don't worry about it.
Hi, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Welcome to this special edition with Colonel Douglas McGregor. Colonel McGregor, thank you for joining us. You and I communicated late last night when the government revealed that it had signed a minerals agreement with potentially a security guarantee with Ukraine, and we decided we should be discussing that.
There's two things that President Trump said he would stop within the first 30 days. Number one, he'd have an end to the war between Ukraine and Russia. Well, today's the 101st day, and they're talking about a mineral deal, right? The other one was he was going to stop the war with, was it Israel? Gaza and Israel. Mm-hmm. That has not been done. So now they're talking about the U.S. is going to have mineral rights, and part of the mineral rights is that there's going to be backed by U.S. security forces. So that goes directly against what they're trying to build, and they actually have open dialogue with Vladimir Putin. So there's a bunch of confusion in the media, and this is what Colonel McGregor is going to talk about. This is why, even though they're partly strong, which we're going to go into militarily, the confusion at home is the stock market losing trillions, gaining this, uncertainty of markets, and people losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in their 401k within the last 30 to 60 days. The country morally is trying to make America great again, and the damage is done. So, play on.
The U.S. is a co-belligerent against Russia. The president is surrounded by neocons who want the war to continue and by American firsters who truly want the war to end. Why a mineral deal involving United States interest in the dirt, in the earth in Ukraine now while we're negotiating with the Russians?
I think on the one hand, you have this desperate need or perceived need to, quote unquote, get a win for the president. And the president, who made lots of, I would say, incautious statements about the war in Ukraine, had told everyone, well, I can end this in a day. That, of course, has gone by the wayside. And now I can sit down and force these two people to negotiate with each other. Well, that hasn't worked. And he's been trying to get Zelensky to sign on for a ceasefire. And Zelensky, of course, has been unwilling to do so unless it meets his needs, which is obviously to continue the war. So I think they decided if we can get something on paper that looks like Americans are going to benefit. In other words, somehow or another, Americans are going to get $1 trillion worth of mineral wealth out of Ukraine.
So pause. During the whole Joe Biden administration, if you remember, we went over show after show, billions and tens of billions of dollars of U.S. taxpayer money went to fund the war in the Ukraine. And this is what he ran on I'm going to stop the war. We're going to get our money. We're going to secure this. And this is where they're going into. Now, we have like 15 minutes left. Do me a favor. Let's get out of here. You guys could check that out your own. I want to get to the next point. It's on geopolitical. I time-stamped it. It shouldn't be too long. Meanwhile, all this is going on. You mentioned, Captain Matt mentioned about the red herring. You have Gaza and you have the Ukraine, which he's done nothing. The real issue you're going to find out is China. In the U.S. right now, a lot of us may not be aware, they are preparing for war with China right now. So is this an article or video? And then we got 2 articles, and then we're going to show you.
Another report in the Wall Street Journal that was published in March 2025 that is even more disturbing because it discloses how the U.S. military has deployed a missile system in the Philippines that could hit most of the cities in China. This is known as the Typhoon missile system, and it can fire missiles as far as 1,240 miles, which is roughly 2,000 kilometers. The Wall Street Journal published a map that shows that this missile system that the U.S. put in the northern part of the Philippines can hit major
China. Y'all right now, you know what I want, right? Map of the Philippines, right? Pull up a map of the Philippines because this is important because after the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the U.S. has bases. And then do me a favor. Pull up, I did a U.S. Bases. If you go down to number 12, pull up countries with bases worldwide. That should be able to load real quick. And I want to look at a map. And this is what we're going to end on this because all of that, I'm going to stop the Ukraine war. I'm going to stop Gaza. All of this is underlying 145% tariff on China. There is a major trade war going on right now. And it is going to evolve to a physical war. Now, God's going to allow what he's going to allow. But look at the map of the Philippines. You don't need to show me. No one's talking about this. Kind of take a step back out. It is what it is. Sometimes we have tough nights. All right. All right. Is it too tough to get a map of the Philippines? Okay. Please. Nehemiah, you're doing the best you can. I understand that. All right, let's do this. No worries, no worries. Well, is if it's too hard, can we back out so we could see Philippines from a distance? Okay. Do a map of Asia. Asia will be good because Philippines is an Asian country. Okay, in the meantime, all right, look at number, I want you to remember the Typhoon missile systems. Do number 9. All right. All right, drop all that. Let's just read. No worries, it is what it is. Number 9, article number 9. Maybe next week we could work on, I'm not sure what we got to do, but I don't got to try to blame y'all. It's just, it's really slowing the show down, that's all. All right, let's pull up number 9. It's an article, right? Should be able to pull it right up. Or it's an article about, okay. Okay. So this is a system that they have that can hit any city in China. Why is it important? Because the Philippines is not the United States, but we have bases there. Okay? Let's read that.
Report to Congress on U.S. Army Typhoon missile system. From the report, improved Chinese and Russian long-range artillery systems, new employment techniques for unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, and the proliferation of special munitions such as precision, thermobaric, loitering, and top attack munitions, have renewed concerns about the potential impact of Russian and Chinese fires on U.S. combat operations. In response, the U.S. Army is seeking to improve its ability to deliver what is refers to as long-range precision fires.
Long-range precision missile strikes from the Philippines. Right now, this is from last week, the 22nd of April. This is what they are planning right now, okay? Right now. Read on.
By upgrading current artillery and missile systems, developing new long-range systems and hypersonic weapons, and modifying existing air and sea launched missiles for ground launch.
I mean, they kind of lagging a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that the military, they ain't nothing to play with, but they kind of lagging a little bit. They spent the past 8 years, 12 years, like feminizing the entire military force. I mean, you now you want to try to get things right when everybody else took all of these 12 years to get their stuff in order and prepare for war. Now you trying to late minute run to the party to prepare for war. You're going to mess yourself up.
That's right. Russia is far more advanced with their missile set. We did a show on that, and the U.S. knows that. And that's why when they dropped that hypersonic that hit Kyiv from Russia, and remember we saw that video and it came down?
Yep.
That was a conventional warhead, and with the ability to deploy ICBM style. And the U.S. understands that, and this is why they're doing what they're doing. The Lord is mustering all this. I'm sorry, Yasser, you about to get
that was my point exactly. Putin said, you're talking about developing it. We got it. We got it already. And so we're going to put them into mass production. So same thing. China is their ally. So don't you think China got that technology as well, or will have that technology very quickly if they got into some fisticuffs?
Pull up real quick. Pull up number 10. And these articles you should be able to put with no restrictions. Just pull it up. Is the Philippines, can I see the whole country from a distance? Okay, there we go. All right. So go down to Vietnam. Okay, look at the Philippines. So if we look, there we go. That was beautiful. So remember the Vietnam War, okay? Look at Vietnam, Laos, Thailand. Look at the Philippines. Look, and this, where we have, not we, but the U.S. has the battery of these Typhoon missiles, is in the North Island of the Philippines. Look at it. This is what the U.S., they masters of strategic placement. If they are right there, look how close they are to China. They're right in this, damn near in the South China Sea, and they've got long-range missiles right there, and they control that. China don't control the Philippines. The U.S. controls the Philippines. And this is what they like Officer Yasser said, Russia, BRICS, they're all allies, and they have been building up, preparing for war. And God is putting the spirit of them to prepare for that. All right? So now, number 2, we're going to close out with 10. And we had a lot more to cover, but, we went over France, and we are just understand that main thing about Donald Trump is he signed all these executive orders. He makes all these promises, but at the end of the day, guess what's happening? More and more turmoil is happening throughout the world. And it's being masked as, oh, he can't sign this, he can't sign that. The real war is preparing. China, they're getting ready to defend Taiwan. Because why is Taiwan so important? Why do they want to stop China? Because Taiwan is the #1 producer of microchips on the planet Earth by far. And we can't beat them. So-called the U.S. cannot beat China in a trade war. Can't do it. It's not going to happen. So what do they do? The next best thing? Beat them in a physical war.
So my thoughts were when you mentioned about the resources that the United States is trying to go into the Ukraine and get. But how does Europe feel? The United States, they say they blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, cut off the gas to Europe. And now, after all of this 2 years, 3 years of war, the United States goes in and gets the minerals out of the Ukraine. Europe's got to be like, man, y'all putting a stick to us over here.
And that's why we've been going over this, beating the scripture in Revelation 17. And the 10 horns shall hate the whore. That's what's going on. You take our excellent relationship with Russia. We had a channel of commodities that went through the Baltic Sea directly to Germany and distributed it. You had a lot of cheap natural gas and resources. You destroy that, like you said it perfectly.
Yes.
It's perfect. Last, let's read Typhoon batteries ready for war. This is from the Defense News, and this should give a picture of, they can just drive these things right up, okay? Yep. Looks like an LVS.
Yeah, LHS.
That was my MOS. I used to drive, that thing is hard to, articulation, all
low
that.
handling system with a big satch trailer. It's got like a 10K generator on the back of it.
Damn.
Yeah.
So that means that's self-contained. They don't need, they're autonomous. They can launch right from there.
Yeah, you can launch
It
from that
reminds me of the scripture where it talks about the islands in the sea are going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
When China retaliates, they're going to move them out of their place over there.
So again, what the American public is being rocked to sleep. Executive order this. He fires this. He gets all these noteworthy people in office. Fire this, and your mind is. And what's building is the Third World War is coming together. Europe is distancing itself from the U.S. The bond of China, Russia, South Africa, all the BRICS nations, and the U.S. is going to be. And Isaiah says, "Is this the man?" Because all nations are going to look at the U.S. like, you guys, because they made so many enemies. Okay, let's read that and we're done.
U.S. Army readies second Typhoon battery for Pacific deployment.
Wait, read the title again, Micah.
U.S. Army readies second Typhoon battery for Pacific deployment.
Can we look up military battery, please? Is that too much? Because battery like a BATTER, battery. Please. So there's a first Typhoon battery there. They have a second one getting ready to deploy. Let's just stop. Forget it. Just forget it.
No. A battery is a group. It's a group of people that are moved from one place to another. It's called a battery. It's not necessarily a platoon or a company.
It's a weapons formation. It's a lot of friggin' weapons. I'm sorry, I should have told you about it. I forgot. It's been a long day for all of us. Bear with us. Yes, that's it. That's it. That's it. Can we read that?
In a military context, a battery refers to a tactical unit of artillery.
In this case, it is long-range missiles that can go from one country all the way to another. Read.
Typically composed of military artillery pieces.
We're going to read about it. The second battery, the one is already there. Read on.
Like guns or rockets.
Big, giant rockets. Read.
And the personnel needed to operate them.
Right. You don't have one guy back in Detroit with a joystick. There's a whole bunch of guys over there. Read.
It's equivalent in size and function to an infantry company.
An infantry company. Read.
Usually consisting of 100 to 200 soldiers.
Let's say it's low. Let's say it's 100 army guys, right? But the weaponry that they deploy causes massive damage. And the second battery is on its way to the Philippines. For what? It's not war with Cambodia. I'll tell you that much. It's preparing for war with China. And all of this is going on in the trade war. It's all a front. Let's read on. We're going to close out.
The U.S. Army's 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force Unit is standing up its long-range fires battalion over the next year, including readying its Typhoon battery for deployment in the Pacific Theater, making the Army's second such missile system to enter the region, according to the unit's commander.
So, and that's what they're telling you publicly. They might have 5 there. They're just telling you they got the second battery on this way. Read on.
The Army has 2 certified and fielded Typhoon batteries, also known as mid-range capability missiles, stationed at a joint base Lewis McChord, Washington. Colonel Michael Rose, the 3rd MDTF commander, told reporters in a media roundtable Friday.
So if that's in wherever it says Washington, if that's Washington State or D.C., they got to move that equipment all across the earth to get to the Philippines. That in itself is a logistical friggin' nightmare. Read on.
The 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force of MDTF headquartered in Hawaii was officially received its Typhoon battery at JBLM this year, according to Rose.
Right. We're going to read this last article. This is the level of weaponry that they have. And this is why China, this is why Putin does not trust the United States, because they have them surrounded. They have bases in Japan, Philippines, and they have guns and weapons pointed at China right now. Read.
The Lockheed Martin built system, consisting of vertical launch systems that uses the Navy's Raytheon-built Standard Missile 6 and Tomahawk missiles.
We hear about Tomahawk missiles all the time. Read on.
Can strike targets in the 500 to 2,000 kilometer range.
Remember, pull the map up if you can. If not, of the Philippines again, the same one you just had up, if you can do that. If not, let's just read on.
The complete system.
There it is. So look, 500 to 2,000 kilometers, which is almost 1,000 miles. If you look, many of the Chinese, there's China, and you've got major cities with 10 million or more people right there in the range of U.S. missiles. U.S. missiles. And they can use warheads. Obviously, they're not nuclear warheads, but they can do major damage with that. Why are they deploying? Let's just say, for example, it's diplomacy and it's just a trade war with economics and tariffs. Why would you move the first battery to the Philippines? Secondly, can you imagine if Russia or China moved a battery to Bermuda or to Cuba? It would just be war. Showing that the U.S. does run the earth, but God is going to have to weaken them to a point where all nations are going to come against this man. Okay? We're done after this. Read the last thing.
The complete system has a battery operations center, 4 launchers, prime movers, and modified trailers. Defense News first reported that Army's plan to pursue the mid-range missile in September 2020. The Army fielded the capability in less than 3 years. The Army deployed its first Typhoon missile launch to the Philippines in 2024 as part of the joint exercise. Scroll up.
Okay, so look, we're going to stop it there. Here's the point that be very mindful the first 100 days of Trump that we're seeing a lot of executive orders. We're seeing stock markets go up and down. We're seeing Elon Musk and Doge. All of that is meant to bedazzle you. We found Social Security from men that were 150 years old collecting. All of that's get to take you off the focus. The end of the world is coming, and the U.S. has got missiles and set up to attack. They're worried about China. They're worried about Russia. And that's why Trump can't do anything against Russia. Okay? So, all right, with that, brothers and sisters, stick around. Listen, by the way, tech team, they do the best that they can. We throw the tech team under the bus, all radio shows. They do the best they can. I sent them the stuff an hour ahead of time, so part of it is they didn't get the stuff early, so I ain't gonna throw them under the bus like that. So with that, all praise to the Most High. We're getting ready to go to Laura back attack, and then we're going to take you home. Shalom.
Yeah, you can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in.
Officer Mike, get me Ciroc 30. I'm going to review the same ones I always do.
You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in. Yeah, you can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in.
Hey, shalom, Most High and Christ bless. Laura back attack. I want all of y'all, I'm going to be brief tonight. I want all you to know, all you ranking men to know that accountability is going to be coming down the line. And you men, it's been 9 months. You have to take responsibility for your health, take responsibility for how your health affects the men around you in your nation. And if you cannot get yourself together, you're going to be held accountable. It's just that simple. And the scriptures, we're going to give you scriptures. And if you can, here it is, last men's conference. You weigh 303 pounds. You show up at the next men's conference and you weigh 298 pounds. What's wrong with you? Like, and I'm saying this, and it's ridiculous. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to get fat shamed, and there's consequences coming down the line. Or you already got limitations. And some of you don't even care, all right? You're treating it like it's a vacation. And you're weak, and you need to be embarrassed. You're big, fat, disgusting lard. That's what you are. Read that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 30, verse 15. Health and good estate of body are above all gold.
So if you value gold, and it uses the comparison that gold is very valuable and important. Most High is saying, read it again.
Health and good estate of body are above all gold.
You don't get a good estate of your body without getting your health up to par. So you want to have health, and then the good body will come with that. And you've got many examples this year. Many of the men have gone from red to green, meaning lost 80 pounds, lost 107 pounds, lost 120 pounds in the last 9 months. They've completely changed their lives and the lives of others. Why? Because they know that now there's accountability standards. And the real soldiers, the real troopers, don't want to be left behind. They want to be out on the forefront of the battle, pushing this glorious truth, being able to travel and doing the work. But you brothers who haven't accomplished anything, you don't care about your health. Which, if you don't care about yourself, if you don't care about yourself, how can you care about the collective nation? And I know I sound the same. It's the same goddamn repeat over and over again, but that's okay. You hear Christmas every year. You hear stupid Easter every year. Read on.
And a strong body above infinite wealth.
Go to my favorite verse, verse 25. Sirach 30:25.
Book of Sirach, chapter 30, verse 25. A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
So a cheerful and a good heart will have a care, meaning you have to actually care about, read what's the word I want? Read it again.
A cheerful and good heart.
A cheerful and good heart will what?
Will have a care of his meat.
Of what?
Of his meat.
Of what?
Of his meat.
So every one of us men have to care about us first. You got to care about your own health first. Once you do that, you realize, I fix me. This brother fixes him. Before you know it, enough of us do that. You look up and you look down in the formation, and everybody has got a relatively in a acceptable standard of body fat. You come to camp, you got your certain boots on, you got certain this, you got this on, and everybody's in a certain health. It's just gonna happen. If enough of us do it, we're gonna all fall in line. What it does is the next generation, there's a standard. You are not gonna become a soldier unless you fit standards. But how can you set a standard when you got the same fat, lard-ass, weak? It's ridiculous, and you don't do nothing for years. Well, guess what? Something coming for you. Watch. You telling me that all these, they can have standards in the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, standards in regular U.S. Army, Navy, and all them, but we can't have standards in God's army? You're ridiculous. And that's because too much mercy has been applied. And even more will be applied. You got 3 more months. Okay, well, something like that. Read on.
A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
A care of his meat and diet, meaning the food. It doesn't mean you got to be a carnivore, but what you eat is your meat, okay? Your meat and your diet, meaning the discipline that you have to enact your eating plan. And when you do that, that's your health. When you fix your health, you create a strong body. It's a cycle. It's a pattern, okay? So we have to get there. So all you brothers that are in the red and the yellow, if you remain disciplined, you can do a lot of damage, and damage meaning positive things to fix your health in 3 months. But you got to start today. And when you show up, we don't want to hear no BS. We're not going to hear it. And you brothers that are captains, you're supposed to set the example. Shame on you if you have not set the example. Okay, let's play the video, and then we're out of here.
Calling me fat. I'm like, all right, that's kind of funny. I am fat, a little chubby.
Do me a favor. Go rewind it again. Shout out to Officer Narai. He sent me this out of San Antonio. This guy here looks like he used to be a big, fat, disgusting lard ass. The guy on the left, the light skin one that's talking, he was a big, fat giant, bigger than Severus. Actually, that I don't know about that because Severus is huge. Shout out to Captain Severus. But he got ridiculed, fat shamed, and it prompted something in him to make a change. And sometimes that's what you lard asses need is tough love. So if I ever get to become a fat lard ass, y'all better destroy me, please. Play.
I'm like, all right, that's kind of funny. I am fat, a little fat. I'm like, all right, that's kind of funny. I am fat, a little chubby. Then they start calling me a fat bitch. I said, wait. That shit hurt. I go look in the mirror. God damn, I'm fat as hell. This I can never lose this. That's how I used to think. Damn. Then one day I just started running. Then everybody used to live, around each other. So I look in the group chat. They sending pictures of me running, laughing at me. Look at this fat ass bitch running. I'm like, he running to the store to get snacks. I'm like, wait, these niggas out of control. So I just started taking different paths, but I kept it up for 6 months, and then I just lost all my weight.
That's good.
And I only ate 1 time a day.
Stop, pause. That's the key to the whole thing. So if he ate 5 times a day and run, you're going to burn 500 calories, and you eat more than. If you eat 1 time a day and you're working out, running, lifting weights, you are going to lose the weight. And he said a timeline. He said about 6 months. That's what we see. 6 months, the big, really huge, well-looking Shamu lard asses may take you 9 to 12 months. Okay, if you're like 120 pounds. We have brothers lose 120 pounds, 125 pounds, 130 pounds, 107 pounds, and they changed their life. And they did it by eating 1 meal a day, nothing outside the window, water, and exercising. And the weight will go away. Once you lose all the weight, you get healthy, guess what you do? Then you can readjust. You don't have to eat 1 meal a day the rest of your life. You lose all the fat. Now you go back to a sense of normalcy, but you have to track your calories, meaning if you lose 100 pounds and now you're relatively strong, find out what your new maintenance calorie requirements are. If it's 1,800, if it's 2,200, don't eat above 2,200 calories, and you won't gain fat again. So the 1 meal a day is to reset you, to heal you, and maybe you go back to 2 meals a day, but with exercise. So here's the thing. All of this, y'all got to get there. We're going to get there together. And if you don't get there, there's a consequence. And we don't want no fat liabilities out there with us. But I'll tell you where you can be back at the school, taking care of the chairs, making sure that the waters are there for the real men that come back from camp. That's what you can do. But we're not going to have no fat lard asses amongst us for too much longer. And that's love. That's real love. And guess what? It's coming. So you weak ones, when I see you, make sure you go the other way, because I'm going to put your ass on blast. So all praise the Lord. And you brothers that made it to the green, shout out to you. We got a fat Asa. He's over there. Asa went from green to yellow. He sleep over there in the computer. That's what fat people do. They go to sleep on the computers. That we say shalom.
You can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And do it to the end, going all in. Going all in. Yeah. You can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Do us a favor. Go back and watch the beginning of the show. Tell us what you honestly thought about the intro. Be honest, okay? Because we had a little banter before the show, and we were kind of interested in what you think about the intro. Because if it's, we want to give you the best intro. Also, Cap, Booster Club. Captain Matthew, through the blessings of you brothers and sisters in the Booster Club, has traveled on multiple continents doing work, going out there, putting a life on the line, doing work, myself included, Officer Mike. And we cannot do it without y'all at the Booster Club, and we're going to continue to put in work, country after country, waking up the 12 tribes of Israel. And that being said, the men that you send out, you want them to be in maximum health. You want them to be strong, have strong immune systems so that when their body goes through shocks of different, sometimes you have to eat certain foods, and over there, you can get sick. So the stronger, the better health they're in. So this is why we're trying to push this health thing, and as we travel, to be as strong and as safe as we can. So we cannot do that without the Booster Club, and we appreciate everything that y'all do. Please keep the spirit and give as the Most High put on your spirit. With that, we ended pretty much a little bit later than expected. Tech team did the best they could. Had a couple bumps in the way. Thank you for sticking around, y'all. And do me a favor. Send up prayers for IUIC New Orleans. Send up prayers for us. We in the process of doing some big things, and we need your prayers. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I'm Captain Shem.
Captain Matt.
Officer Micah.
Officer Yasa.
We precept upon precept. With that, we say shalom.
Shalom.